All right. We're back.
Yay!
You know when you hear 50s and 60s music and we're sitting at a diner, it's time for the weekend watching.
The music wasn't this old when we first got here.
No, I think they're like trying to drive us out
That's
of here.
what it is. Seems like it.
But they can't
Get
do
out,
it. They cannot
get
do
out.
it because you are.
The bold one, the cold one. John Colder Ice Lawson, people, get it right.
You got it right. So that's actually pretty good.
I know, because I haven't done it in weeks now.
You made a good comeback, man. Should I call it a comeback?
I've been here for years.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of years. I'm Brent Leary. All right. We are going to do a weekend watching and going to have two topics because these two are kind of big.
They're big, they're huge, they're humongous, they're ginormous. They're ultimately like zeros and zeros and zeros on top of zeros.
100 million, basically. So the first one, we've been talking about this. Well, we said it was going to happen eventually, and you said that when it does happen, Amazon will actually tell us
the number.
They don't like giving out numbers for the most part.
No.
But we hit the $100 million mark, and it
100
came
million member.
100 million mark for Amazon Prime, and the announcement came by way of Jeff Bezos himself, as he wrote in his annual customer shareholder letter. So in that letter, he said they have 100 million Amazon Prime members. Huge number.
Probably. I'm sure they had more than 100 million.
Yeah, he's only admitting to it, right?
But you know what? It's kind of funny. If just to put things in perspective, I did read that. I think the day before that, 2 days ago, right?
Yep.
Netflix put out their numbers.
What was their numbers?
125.
Yeah, 125. But those are some big numbers.
That's just insane. You know what? Really, overall, honestly, what impressed me most about this is I remember when we were in, let's say, in the early, and you'll remember this too, mid 2000s, and everybody was talking about the coming subscription economy, where we would pay these subscriptions for everything, and it was like, yeah, really? Are we? But I think we are so in it.
I think I got there a little earlier because I knew there's a company called Zuora, who one of the co-founders and the current CEO is a guy by the name of Tien Tzuo, who was the chief strategy officer at Salesforce.com. So he left Salesforce to do Zuora, and I think this past week, Zuora went public and was on the opening bell at the stock exchange. So we're kind of combining things. The subscription economy started early. Amazon Prime 2005.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember it now, right?
Shut up.
2005. There's 100 million members. I think I'm going to say I was in the first 100,000.
Yeah.
You were early on too.
I was pretty early.
So we got in. We're definitely before the first one.
Here's the other number.
What's that?
Here's the other number. If you remember when we started doing these episodes, I think the estimate was it was just before they did the NFL. It was between like 60 to 80 million was the estimate.
I remember the very first one where I think we talked about it. It was either 43 million or 60 something million.
Right. Okay.
So that was well over a year and a half.
So what that means is that we're talking about from 2005 to 2018. That is 13 years. But the last two, they've at least doubled.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things.
Yes. So now that's a whole nother 100 million.
So you would think it took 13 years to get the first 100 million. I'm saying the second 100 million, 5 years.
Yeah, at most. What? So you're saying they're going to get to 200? Now let's think about this.
That's tough.
That is tough.
That's 2/3 of the country.
That's 2/3 of the country, right? However, I do believe, and you're gonna like this because you're so like in the voice mode, that really Alexa has a lot to do with the reasoning behind this. You know,
Oh, you're starting to come over to the dark
I'm not-
side. Come
but
on.
yes. I think that those and Prime Day. I mean, and I can't believe I'm saying it, but Prime Day is actually working.
Come on, that worked. When I saw 60 billion or whatever that number was,
Yeah.
that told me it was working.
Now, you throw all these things out because we're throwing out a lot of numbers, right? And you say like, how much revenue is 100 million people paying $100? You're the math guy.
100 million. Well, it's not. There's an average because not
Some people
everybody
are
is
paying
paying
79.
100. Yeah. There's,
But just let's get a number. Give me a rough number.
let's say the average is like 60 to 70 per member,
Okay.
and there's 100 million members.
That's what, 6 billion?
I think it's more than 6 billion.
60 billion?
Yeah, it's more like that.
Like 60 billion. Okay.
That, yeah.
Right? But then you go back
100 million.
Yeah, put
times
couples-
600 million. 60 billion. Yeah, 6 billion.
6 billion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
6
off
billion.
of memberships.
And then what was their profitability?
Well, I don't know, but remember this. Prime members spend more money.
They do.
They buy more expensive items.
They do.
They shop in more categories.
They do. I'm going to pull out this number because I want to know what their profits were last year.
I would bet off of Prime members, it's probably like 80,
No,
20.
just in general.
Oh.
What is their profit number? And then we always talk about their profits are actually coming from AWS. Where is all this $6 billion going and all these, I'm like, it's just kind of weird where's the money, Jeff?
In his back pocket, right? But here's the other thing. So there's 100 million primers out there. We also know that Prime members seem to be buying these voice devices at a much higher rate than non-primers. So what percentage of that 100 million are going to own Echo devices over the next several years?
Oh, easily.
Do you think it'll get to 10,
60
20%?
What, percent of members that own an Echo?
Yeah.
Oh, 50%.
Within how much time?
I'll give it to 5 years.
So that means in 5 years there'll be more than 100 million Prime members, and you're saying 50% of Prime members
Will have a device.
So you're talking over 100 million Prime people. Well, no, it could be
Let's say 50 million devices.
50 million
Prime members
owners.
owning devices, and they'll own more than one.
more than one, and they tend to do more activities through those devices once they
and
get
it's gonna
comfortable with it.
and it's gonna
So they're going to buy stuff
accelerate.
through it. Yeah, they're going to have appliances with Alexa inside. So this is like Donald Trump's worst nightmare. This is like the president. If we think he's hating on Jeff Bezos now, oh my God! Can you imagine what it's going to be like when there's Alexa devices all
everywhere.
over the White House?
Right, yeah. And they automatically will play the top Washington Post stories.
Yeah, the flash briefings will come straight from the Washington Post, NPR, MSNBC. It's like his worst nightmare is about to take place.
That is too funny. But having said all of that and now crunching that, it really is time to be looking at breaking this company apart.
Don't put that idea.
I'm
Well,
sorry.
it's already out there.
It's already out there.
Well, now you're going to talk about this. What do you call it? The retail apocalypse.
Retail
Is this
apocalypse.
also playing a role in the First of all, you got to say what the retail apocalypse is and what role does Amazon play in this?
Retail apocalypse is a hashtag. And it's a hashtag that is being run around based on the number of closings of retail stores in this country. And
there's a lot of them.
And there's a lot of them, and it's accelerating to the point where they're saying that this year is on pace to be a record-setting year for store closings, which is pretty amazing because the economy is pretty good, right?
Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So, remember the thanks Obama hashtag that was going around, where people were, all the negative things that were taking place, they would end it with the thanks Obama.
Right.
So are we going to have to do a thank Bezos hashtag because of this retail apocalypse? Because there seems to be people blaming Amazon and Bezos for pretty much anything that goes.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to be the cannon fodder for everything.
So is this seriously, is Amazon at the core of this retail apocalypse?
You know, it's really hard to say. There is, and I do a lot of, like, I'll drive around sometimes, and like we're very near to one of the, right across the freeway right here is a shopping center, and I've lived next to the shopping center.
What are those shopping? What?
Yes, exactly. And I lived next to the shopping center forever, right? And so the stores, the anchor stores in there, have changed a little bit. Now they're like the Big Lots is one. The other one is I can't remember the name, but it's one of those closeout type stores, right? And the other closeout, like TJ Maxx and something else, right? Mm-hmm. So those are kind of like secondary market stores,
right?
And those have been the mainstays for probably the last 5 to 10 years. What I find that's interesting is that those stores keep opening, but it's all the shops in between that they're empty. And those were mom and pop shops. Those were one-offs. Those were the puppy clothing store and the little children mart. And
puppy clothing
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, you know what I mean though? It's like, I think there's a transition in retail that's going on, and I think we're so focused in on the Macy's and Sears of the world that we're kind of, and the Toys R Us, that we're really missing what's in between all that, which is the, you know, mom and pop retail that are really, really struggling at some level. And I don't know what that is and how that works, but it's there.
You know what, I think it all goes to automation, technology, big processors in the cloud that you don't have to pay big money to use. So that means automation becomes more efficient.
You know what else used to be there?
What?
I'm just thinking. It used to be like little tax stores and accounting and a lot of stuff. You're talking about technology.
Don't mention taxes, because then the IRS, their website didn't work too good on tax day. But I'm just saying that you got to talk it up to automation. You got to talk it up to more accessible technology that's easier and more affordable than ever. And companies that are good at automating processes, and Amazon is, there's just no way of getting around it.
Yeah.
They are impacting everything we do.
Yeah, yeah. And not just retail.
It's everything.
Changing the way we do business in general.
It's changing the way we live in general.
Yes.
So of course, it's going to happen.
It's going to impact some, you know, and I think some of the downstream impact we're seeing is retail.
But the good thing is, I think, although it may take a little more understanding and effort, companies really have to figure out how they can leverage automation to not just to do what they do already better, but to figure out new opportunities to put this technology used to create completely different business models, completely different ways that they couldn't even imagine doing before. So they got to get out of this idea of how do we use technology just to do what we do better. That's like this. They got to be like this, all around. Take a broader view how they could apply this technology, and then do something like this guy did in the 90s. Oh wow, I could sell books and not have to open a big bookstore to do it. That was kind of a crazy idea back in the 90s, wasn't it?
I don't know. Who did that? Yeah, I see what you're saying. So it's like, okay, we got the technology. Now how do we apply it, not just to what's already out there, but what's going to be the next thing that we can make offers on?
I was in New York at this Financial Force event, and the CEO got up, Todd Nielsen, and he was talking about how He used this phrase, software ate the world, services is, how did he put it? Services are doing something to the whole galaxy, completely eating the galaxy. Anyway, but one of the things I'm missing
Thanks for sharing that.
I'm missing
I
the
love,
like software
I'm sure,
ate the
you know
world.
What? You've got the essence of
Yeah, but I wish I had the word that he used. But services is kind of doing the same thing on a bigger scale. That's why the whole galaxy is being eaten. Anyway, but he used some examples, and one of them was, I never heard of this service, and I wish I could remember the name of it, but apparently there's a service out there that instead of having to, when you go on a lot of trips, business trips, you got to pack all your suits and stuff, and take them to the airport, and load them up, and try to get them into your bin, and if you can't, you got to check it, then you got to get it after you check. It's just a big hassle.
Suitcase.
So there is a service
that'll deliver your bags to your hotel. Yeah, I know about that service. I've used it.
How cool is that? Now, that's applying modern technology.
They come pick up your bag
to do something completely different
to your hotel.
It's a need that's been there forever, but it's a completely different way to do it, and they're using technology to do it.
Now I just need to figure out how to get somebody to unpack them and put them in the drawer before I get there.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, they take it to your hotel. So when you get to your hotel, you get your room.
Yeah, you're ready to go.
Yeah,
you're ready to rock and roll.
And so that's somebody thinking completely out of the box.
It is. But you know what? It's also about service, man.
Service.
It's all about service. And I think at some level, we are going to have to figure out how to use technology to serve each other better.
Well, that's why software ate the world,
and
services devoured. That's what I was trying to say. Devours the galaxy.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
I wish I hadn't butchered it the first time.
Yeah, you totally
I
messed
just
that
completely.
up.
But anyway, but
you had to be there.
That's the thinking that that's the thinking that is required.
It is,
because we're not going backwards. We're not going back to, I don't want to say coal mines and all that, but we're not. Those jobs are going away for good.
It is ridiculous, and I don't even want to get onto it.
We're not getting political, but this is.
I'm not. That's not even political. I want to get on because I just came back from Belize, and literally the whole island is full of golf carts. And I'm sitting there and I'm wondering, why are they driving gas golf carts when you could have all these be electric? I mean, it's just ridiculous that we blow up mountains and then dig them up to burn them to drive around. It was just like, it's so ridiculous at this point. Well, but anyway, that's my tangent.
And I think just overall, it's ridiculous to go back 30, 40, 50 years and try to do things the same way we did them 30, 40, 50 years ago, when we have this awesome technology that allows us to do things more efficiently, more effectively, more easily than ever before.
Okay, this is so deep though. But I mean, how much has human changed in all of that time?
So I will say humans in general, we're lazy.
You know what?
And
this is tapping.
And the mother of invention comes out of this. And I'll give you you the remote control. I was talking about this at a couple of conferences last week. Remote control has been around forever, right? The remote control was put in place because we did not want to have to get up out of our chairs, get our asses up out of our chairs, and turn the channel, or turn the volume up, or channel surf to find whatever we wanted to watch. We got tired of getting up. And the person who got tired of getting up created the remote control because they didn't want to have to get up.
That's crap.
That's the truth.
It sounds good, and you know what? It sounds good in hindsight.
Well, let's put it like this. Continuing with the theme.
Give me the theme.
So we have the remote.
We have the remote.
Oh, we shouldn't need anything more to do with this, right? But then once we got used to doing these things with the remote, we're like, what else can we do with
the remote?
And so they started adding features and buttons to the remote, right?
Yes.
So we got all these remotes that have all these features and functions. What else do we need to do with it now? Well, guess what? You have to go to college basically to work these remotes because there's so many buttons on it.
So now you got to have somebody to do that.
And guess what? The Dish Network put Alexa inside, and so instead of using these buttons to try to figure out what's on and what to watch, now you can say, Alexa, give me this movie on channel 12.
Right.
Or Alexa, I don't even know what channel. Find this movie.
No, you can actually say a line
You could
from
say
a movie.
You can say
and it'll
Franklin's
give it to
Carl.
you.
I don't give a
Bam.
damn. It'll
Yes,
find you
it'll
Gone
find
with
you
the
that
Wind.
movie.
So once again, it's technology doing things that we've wanted and could do, trying to find better ways, more efficient ways to do it,
Yes.
and leveraging modern technology to do it.
Okay, whatever.
So that's the key.
this is
here.
your big thought here.
The big thought is, instead of belly aching,
Uh-huh.
the technology is here. People have to figure out how to most get the best use in order to create opportunities for their businesses moving forward.
Okay, because people are lazy. So that is the
Because
ultimate goal.
consumers
ladies and
are
gentlemen.
lazy.
Consumers are lazy.
Why do you think Alexa is taking
You know
off?
what? Here's the thing. I'm not going to say consumers are lazy, and that's why I was going to kind of backtrack on that a little bit. Consumers are lazy, but they didn't give that feature was not made because it was lazy. It was actually made as a luxury feature, so that the first people that had a TV that had a remote, you now had this luxury of being able to sit on your couch and not get up and then change the channel. Actually, it was just to turn it on.
I
or
would
off.
say actually.
But wait, let me.
Okay.
So the deal is though, what ends up happening is that feature that was a luxury feature becomes standard because of the ability or the free market of the technology. It becomes a standard thing. So everybody now has a remote control. And now, because everybody has it, now we're all lazy. So I'm wondering if that made us lazy or was lazy there to begin with.
No, we've always been lazy because, I mean, the remote control is just one example. I mean, you could go
Of
back
that.
to, the phone. You used to send telegrams.
Okay, so here's the thing I'm trying to ask you: is are we inherently lazy, or is the technology making us lazy?
No, I think we're using this lazy theme.
Yeah, and that's a theme.
I
but-
think we're inherently lazy, but I'll also say that we're inherently looking for better ways to do things too.
Yeah, I think we're inherently
because
efficient. It's efficient.
What about the person who is paraplegic or quadriplegic and couldn't get up to change the TV?
That's not a luxury for
That's
them.
not a luxury. So
No.
that
That
is
becomes
a need.
a gateway for things that they never
Right.
could do.
And then think of somebody like Stephen Hawking before he passed away. He couldn't even talk,
Right.
but he built something that allowed him to communicate with the outside world. Just like this technology that we're using with Alexa allows us to experience life in a much different way, because now instead of having to type something
Just talk.
we could just, what's more natural than us talking? So this technology that is currently out is making it even easier for us to dictate what's in our head and have activities brought back or things that we need brought back, because now we're even more easier to communicate with
Yeah.
what's around us, as opposed to let me think and then type and hope that what I'm thinking, what I'm typing
I mean,
is going to
ultimately,
get over to the
how
next
long
person.
before we just think?
5 to 10 years.
Yeah, at the most.
Anyway, so, man, we went
Wow.
all around the world on that one.
Oh, that's okay though. I think it was good because we haven't talked in a long time.
That's right.
And as you can tell, we had a lot in our brains.
Let me just one quick shout out.
Shout out.
So last week, of all things, I was at the CRM Evolution conference. I was walking around in the hotel that the conference was in, and I don't even know how this happened, but just run across the chief evangelist for Alexa and Echo, Dave Isbinski, guy that I told you about. I've had him on, my interview series. He just so
Yeah.
happens to be walking around in the same
Yeah,
hotel.
right. Just so happens to
He
be.
walks up to me and says, "Finally get a chance to meet you."
Oh, so you guys have never met before?
Not face to face.
Oh, okay. So you just did the interviews.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And we know each other's face, and he just walked up and said, "Man, I can't believe we're actually meeting face." So it was really cool bringing it all home, because not only are we watching Amazon, but apparently
They're
Amazon is
watching
watching
us.
us too.
Bam.
And on that note, we're out.
Peace.